Möge die Macht mit dir sein. May the force be with you. In German. And the fantastic John Williams score, which underlines the tension. It was do 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 do. Do 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 do. Ah na 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 ah. And another one. The force will be with you always.
Avoid the dark side, you must.
Like Darth Vader.
Now I am the master. Obi-Wan has trained you well.
And then,
No, I am your father. Dum 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 dum. Dum 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 dum. Dum 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 dum.
very iconic and one. Of course we have the iconic main theme, which goes like this. Do 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 do. Do 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 no 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 no. Like in episode number 1, The Phantom Menace, 20,000 credits will do fine.
No, they will not.
20,000 credits will do fine.
No, they will not. Who do you think you are, some kind of a Jedi? To wave your head around it is not gonna work on me.
And the lines like, these are not the droids you're looking for. So I didn't pay attention to that, but does it mean that these are not the droids you are looking for, or these are not the droids you're looking for? So like I said, I didn't pay attention to the accent, to the stress put on the words there, but like when you think about it, these are not the droids you're looking for, so you are looking for something else from the linguistic point of view. For example, you are looking for some destroyers or whatever, or these are not the droids you're looking for. So these particular ones are not the droids you are looking for, but still you are looking for the droids. Yes, if it makes any sense. Hi there guys, how are you today? How's been your Christmas? Actually, it's the second and the last day of Christmas, alas. So it's coming to an inevitable end. What can we do? It's always like that, right? It's a natural course of events. So welcome back to another Christmas special, Blast and the Past Unplugged row. So as little editing as possible, and I'll try to keep it short and sweet this time, but I don't think that it will be shorter than around 24-5 minutes. But we'll see. Fingers crossed, right? Anyhow, so today I would like to talk about my holiday special. So it's the Star Wars trilogy, especially the old one, and I mean the old one like the episodes number 4 to 6. Rolling. So buckle up and let's get the ball rolling, shall we? On my left side is a pile with films with the old trilogy and the newer trilogy. However, all of them are relatively old, let's say, because actually the first Star Wars film was released in 1977. Can you believe it? Can you believe that? That it's been so many years. Of course, there have been many renditions and re-editions, and it's been changed, altered. But the original one, wow, my goodness, it was such a groundbreaking hit. But actually, prior to its release, when it was released, nobody had believed that it would be a smash success, maybe apart from Steven Spielberg. But let's cut to the chase, shall we? And those editions are not mine, alas, I wish I had them. These are great, fantastic steelbook editions, the Polish ones, and they look magnificent. So, let me pick up the first one. So obviously it's Star Wars A New Hope from 1977, and here it goes. As you can see, really, it looks fantastic, the steelbook, and what can I say about it? So obviously it's a classic film. It was a groundbreaking film at that time. The technology, the special effects, even right now it holds up very, very well. You have to give it the kudos, give it props, chapeau bas. I know that some of the scenes have been added later on, and you can clearly see that, especially some CGI ones, special effects. So they are computer generated creatures, and it sticks out like a sore thumb a little bit in the narrative. But the old practical effects, the sets, so they went the extra mile with that, with those, all of those things, and it really shows. But more importantly, the passion is there, that energy, it was something groundbreaking, although actually the source material, it had been used before. So George Lucas only recycled it, and he also based it upon his one of the favorite directors, Akira Kurosawa. And maybe it is clearly seen, but at that time that blend of those genres, it was unthinkable, it was inconceivable. So I don't know what you would like me to say, which hasn't been said before. It will be nothing revolutionary, whatever I say, it will be just a repetition of what everybody else has said. But this is the beginning, and I treat the whole trilogy as a one entity. So I try not to divide them into the better films, the worst films. So maybe let's try to limit it in terms of the running time, my review, my unplugged version of this video, let's say. So I'll just keep the ball rolling, alright? I'll play it by ear, I'll do it spontaneously. And if something pops up in my mind, so I will give it a go. Alright, so that was the first one. And right now for the second one. Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back. And this is obviously the sequel to the original one. And many people claim that actually it is the best out of the whole trilogy. Because, like I've said, to me, the whole trilogy is just one entity. And it's like judging singular episodes of a whole TV series, of one season. Why would you do that? The first episode, it is 9 out of 10, the second one like this. No, it's just one season, and I think that the whole trilogy, of course, you may, if it's very visible, then yes, but in this case, I think that all of the films, they hold up very well. So I wouldn't go there, I wouldn't do that, but this is just me. There is a fun fact, whereas the first one was directed by George Lucas, the second one wasn't, because George Lucas himself didn't want to take this upon himself, this daunting task. So actually even Kirshner directed it. He was his professor at university. And Irvin Kershner, later on he directed RoboCop 2, another sequel, and a very underappreciated one, because I love it. Maybe not as equally as the first RoboCop film, but also very much. But coming back to Star Wars, again, it's a classic, and it introduces this, the Emperor theme, I think.
Dum 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 dum. Dum 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 dum. Dum 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 dum.
Very iconic one. So it was introduced in the second one actually, and really it improves even on special effects even more if it's possible, and the flow between the characters, the personalities, another great addition really. And last but not least, we have the third one. That would be Return of the Jedi. Actually, firstly, it was to be named The Revenge of the Jedi, but since it's against the rules, the code, because Jedis take revenge on somebody, because obviously it's against the code, against their values, that's why it was renamed. And well, this is the closure. What can you say about it? So this is the closure, the great finale of one of the greatest trilogies ever. And like I said, to me it's one big entity. I think I actually love it the most out of the whole old trilogy. I mean the oldest one, because to me there are so many iconic elements, like the change of Luke Skywalker, the change he undergoes in the narrative, and he becomes so confident in his abilities, in his skills when he goes to visit his father, and you can feel this confidence oozing, boosting out of him. This is remarkable, and I love this conflict and this fate which his son has in his own father, that there is still good and kindness in his father. And this is great, and I love it. I'm a sucker for it. So also his lightsaber, now it's green, for stupid reasons, actually, for a silly reason, because they thought that the audience would be confused because he lost his original one, then he would have the same one with the blue edge, let's say, with the blue color. So that's why they changed it. Also, to me, color wise, it's great, it's fantastic, the contrast between the green one and the red one. Oh my goodness. So I could be talking about it for hours on end on the whole original trilogy, so don't get me even started. This is just an apex, the tip of the iceberg, and I wanted to make it short and sweet, so probably it won't be like that, but I want to deliver on my promise just a little bit. Oh my goodness. So and I love this also the redeeming value of that in terms of the Darth Vader's character, that spoilers alert, but I hope that I'm allowed to have those in my review, that finally he does the good thing at the end, and the fate of his son in him, this pushes him to do the right thing at the end of the day, and it shows that you may be redeemed by one act. And actually I think that the newer trilogy 1 to 3 it spoils it a little bit, because it turns out that Anakin Skywalker, he was a child killer, not only once. First of all, he slayed that tribe, and then he slayed the Padawans. So this is unfortunately unforgivable, but back in the day we didn't know about it. So I was rooting also for Darth Vader, for Anakin Skywalker, that he deserved that redemption. But later on, when you found out about his beginnings, that he was a child killer, so this is irredeemable, I think, this kind of a crime. But without having known that, it worked perfectly, the ending. And this is what I love, when even if you have a villain, there is some redeeming act, redeeming value, something that they can do to get that final chance at their own redemption, that the sins can be forgiven. So I'm a sucker for that, for this element. Oh, apologies, I've been running my mouth on it, so I think that it's just about time to move on, obviously. There is also a fun fact that I don't have the original trilogy, the episodes 4, 5 and 6 on Blu-ray. I have them somewhere on the DVD format. I also have them on VHS, and actually I have it in here. It was a giveaway. So I have this spectacular pack. You see the collection. Oh my goodness. So actually I've never tried them. I hope they work, but even just to have it as a collector's item, and it was given to me for free because I'm a film collector. You know me, I'm a film buff, so it's great to have it in your collection. It's the original version with the subtitles, so that was a gimmick back in the day. Oh my goodness. Also the original trilogy, there are so many memorable lines, like Darth Vader,
Now I am the master. Obi-Wan has trained you well.
and then
No, I am your father.
those iconic lines,
Avoid the dark side, you must. Ooh.
I remember that George W. Bush, there was a running joke. He delivered a speech and it was something like, "This is a tough war, and that tough war fight we must." And there was a comment, so who wrote him that speech? Master Yoda? And another one, "The Force will be with you, always." The old trilogy is full of memorable quotes and lines, and also pieces of trivia, like for example the fact that in the trash compactor scene, when they were trapped, I mean Princess Leia, Han Solo and Luke Skywalker, so Mark Hamill said about his hair that something was wrong, that actually it should have been wet. He made a remark and Harrison Ford said, "Okay, ain't this kind of a film. If they are looking at your hair, there we are all in big trouble." And this is pure comedic gold. And the conundrum whether it was Han Solo who shot first or not, oh my goodness. So like I said, I could be talking about it for hours on end and I would not even reach the bottom of it. Don't get me even started on that, for your own good, for your own sake. So this is fantastic. The old trilogy, to me, is just 10 out of 10. One of the most important trilogies ever, probably in the history of Hollywood, of cinema. I'm very glad that this is my Christmas take. This is my Christmas film for some reason. I remember because probably the first time around I watched it on Blu-ray, actually at Christmas, and it stuck with me. That I have this feeling that there's this Christmas vibe, the Christmas atmosphere for some reason. And also there is another educational value that collection which I've just shown you, the steelbooks, so it has many linguistic options, and I've decided to opt for the German subtitles, and so there was some educational value because I remember like so many words and lines and phrases, for example, Möge die Macht mit dir sein, may the force be with you, in German, or gefährlich, dangerous. So this is also great that you remember it. If you are a fan of learning foreign languages, this is the way to go. So usually I stick with the Spanish ones, but now I try to brush up on my non-existent German, so this is why. But come back to the point, alright? So enough about the old trilogy, the original one. Let's move on to the new, so the newer one actually, from the early 2000s. And we have the first one, episode number 1, so it's the Phantom Menace. And I remember that was the first Star Wars film that I saw at the cinema. It was a school outing, and my goodness, I have so many memories with it. So I hadn't had any expectations because I don't even remember whether I had seen the original trilogy on the television or not. Probably I did because it was unescapable and it was unavoidable. But my goodness, when I saw it, I fell in love with it, and there was the PlayStation game based on that, also an adventure game. And a fun fact is that I had that game in German because the German releases were much cheaper. So I remember walking on Tatooine, and if you bumped into somebody, it was "Tut mir leid." I didn't know. I'm sorry, apologies, something like this. Yes, pardon me. Tut mir leid. We had some subjects at school that we had to write descriptions of different personalities, and it was a school outing, so I wrote the descriptions of all the characters. Like we had a Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin Skywalker. Oh my goodness! And I like drawing, so I drew the pictures, I wrote the descriptions. And but about Qui-Gon Jinn, apologies that it's a little bit like mambo jumbo, jumping from one thing to another. But the blast in the past, raw, unplugged, so anything goes. The whole 9 yards. You only get once in a lifetime opportunity to see me being spontaneous. Oh, actually, we had the first one at Christmas Eve, but whatever. So, like I said, so I'm in my element apparently, and Liam Neeson as Qui-Gon, he's spot on. He's immaculate, so that's a shame. Spoiler alert, and that he doesn't come back, and that's a real. But coming back to the film itself, many people criticize it, that it's very childish, very infantile. It didn't bother me back then, it doesn't bother me right now. I love it wholeheartedly. Maybe I'm sentimental about it, but it has, again, many iconic scenes and elements, and there's the iPod racing, but there is the final confrontation between Darth Maul and Qui-Gon Jinn and his Padawan Obi-Wan Kenobi. Oh my goodness, it makes the whole film, the clash of the titans. And actually Darth Maul was so powerful, physically at least, that he could fight off two guys at the same time. This is unthinkable. So he was such an underdeveloped character, unfortunately, because he appeared only in here and later on in the other franchises, like it was he was featured in Han Solo, I think, but it doesn't matter. But a full-blown character of Darth Maul, he was featured only in this one, unfortunately. And the fantastic John Williams score, which underlines the tension. It was do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Ah na 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 ah. Do 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 do. I remember. So I would be singing that for hours on end after the screening and during whilst playing that PlayStation video game. Anyhow, so to me, maybe I have a soft spot for it. I don't know. I don't care really. I hold it in high esteem. I can't do it any other way around, and that's a shame about Jake Lloyd, who played Anakin Skywalker, that he was bullied because of this film, and many people poured smears on him, but for this appearance, I mean. But you know, he was just a kid, so what do you expect? Come on, let's be serious. I don't get it, but that's a shame what happened to him. Anyhow, so great, fantastic, and let's carry on, alright, because we are running out of time. Right now, we have the episode number 2, so it's called Attack of the Clones, and many people consider it a step up in comparison with the Phantom Menace. Really, it's hard for me to say, because of course it's action-packed, it has many more lightsaber duels. There is this famous confrontation between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker fighting off together Count Dooku, who is a master in his craft, and he was Qui-Gon Jinn's master, and he was apparently the Padawan of Yoda, Master Yoda. The plot gets a little bit convoluted in here. We have an army of clones and all that, and more politics than before even, which George Lucas was criticized for. I don't care, because I don't care. I mean, it doesn't bother me, because also I'm a fan of politics a little bit, maybe, actually, if it's well done, so it didn't bother me, even when I was a kid, and I saw all of them at the cinema. When I was a teenager, so I saw the episode number 2 and 3 with my mom, actually, so this is pretty funny. So I dragged her to take me to see those. Oh my goodness, so many good memories. But I am also nostalgic about the newer trilogy, so I can't be very critical about it. Even if I wanted to, I couldn't be. And we have Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker. He is pretty wooden. He gets better at acting later on in his performance, but also his lines are poorly written. I hate the sand because it's coarse and it gets everywhere. What kind of a line is it? Is it a joke? Come on, what are we talking about? So George Lucas, maybe he's never been good at writing, I don't know, but in here, so he reaches a little bit rock bottom with his lines, but maybe it is the charm of the film also, of this one somehow, I don't know. But apart from that, many great duel scenes, action-packed, highly recommended, because after all, it's a Star Wars film, really, an old one also. So, but there is a one worrying thing, that the background, it is CGI, and it sticks out like a sore thumb, really. Very few of the background effects are practical effects, decorations, the sets, and most of them are computer generated, and it shows. The better the picture quality, the more it shows, unfortunately. So moving on to the third one. Last but not least, we have the third one, Star Wars Revenge of the Sith. And this is the closure of the newer trilogy. It paves the ground for the episode number 4, what happens later, how the character of Lord Vader was created, and it gets much darker, obviously, for obvious reasons, because it shows how Anakin Skywalker becomes Lord Vader in the final closure of the trilogy, and his character is better written than before. Hayden Christensen is also better in his performance. Many people consider it the best out of the whole newer trilogy, and I try not to rate them separately, but to me it's also a very good film. The lightsaber duels again are there, so there is the rematch between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker fighting together against Count Dooku, and this time the outcome is a little bit different, and we have Anakin Skywalker turning to the dark side, unfortunately. Um, so, so what can I say? It is much darker, much gloomier, much more serious, maybe with better written dialogue lines. But there is also another thing, because I think that this is in this one, Annie, I'm pregnant, she says to Anakin Skywalker. So it's like from some Brazilian TV series, telenovela. Or so Lucas at that time, he wasn't very good at writing scripts. I don't know, maybe he has never been good at all, or maybe it was just with the newer trilogy. I have no idea, but he was criticized enough, so I'm not gonna hit him again for that. And this is it. It brings an end to the newer trilogy, and also it wraps up the story pretty neatly. So Unfortunately, we had 3 more sequels, but I think that this is a story, this is a topic for a separate video, isn't it? By the way, about the lightsaber duel, so here on the steelbook edition, in the steelbook edition on the cover we have General Grievous, and he uses 4 lightsaber swords because he's a cyborg, a robot trained in the Jedi craft, and he uses 4 of them. But actually Obi-Wan disarms him pretty quickly, which was a tad disappointing because the build-up was pretty big and it didn't deliver the duel, the fight. But still, they tried something different a little bit, and it was great to see something out of the box. That about sums it up regarding Revenge of the Sith and regarding the newer trilogy. But also, maybe I'll just share my thoughts on the newest trilogy, so the episodes from number 7 to number 9. Quite surprisingly, I think that I liked The Last Jedi the most for some reason. I have no idea why. I'm not really sure why, because the episode number 7, it was the retelling of New Hope, so it was a tad disappointing. Then we had The Last Jedi, which at least tried something new. It took the risks, for better or worse. And then we had the disastrous the closure of the franchise. And I don't know what happens next, but I think that maybe they should just put it to pasture and let it be for some time, because we have also had many spin-offs, separate individual films trying to squeeze that proverbial lemon, the cash cow. And actually in here I have Rogue One. I saw it at the cinema. I wasn't blown away with it because to me Star Wars, I always associated with lightsabers, blasters, the Force, and in this case, so it was pretty raw. But I really need to come back to it because many people claim that this is actually the best spin-off out of all of the released ones. I also saw Han Solo at the cinema, which was pretty boring. Maybe I will give it a go again, but I remember that I was disappointed. But this one actually, maybe it is worth revisiting. I don't know, but to me it lacks this Star Wars magic. To me this is the biggest setback in terms of Rogue One. But never say never. Maybe I will decide to give it a go again. On a side note, I really like the pronunciation of the name of Ewan McGregor's character, actually before Alec Guinness's character, Obi-Wan Kenobi. It is so British when you pronounce it this way, yeah? Obi-Wan Kenobi, can you read me? Do you read me? Can you read me? Obi-Wan Kenobi. Oh my goodness, it's pleasant to the ear, isn't it? And of course we have the iconic main theme, which goes like this. Do 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 and I could be humming it like that forever, for hours on end. But it like opens the door towards the new adventure. So I can't even think about it, how great it was, how great it must have been in the 1970s to have seen it on the screen. And it opens like this with the Star Wars crow, the font, the letters moving up, rolling up the screen, and the introduction to this fantastic tale, the soap opera. Oh my goodness, I wish I had been there and I had witnessed that. Really. So it must have been spectacular and magnificent. And Star Wars Crow, it's also equally iconic, just like John Williams' score and all the elements of it. And when you have the lightsaber duel, so the sounds, vroom, 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 vroom. And actually it's funny that some of the actors who played in the franchise, they were making the sounds whilst fighting with fake saber duels, the props. So they had to stop themselves from making the sounds, vroom, vroom, vroom. Because even when I was a kid, so we would have Star Star Wars fights. After the first one, we saw it at the cinema. It was a school outing, but using our hands. And actually, I was a pretty strong guy even back then. I was a pretty strong kid because I started the training routine very early. So I remember that we had that one of those fights, and the next day after, so one of the guys, one of the boys, he came back home very bruised, and you know there was an official meeting, and it was like a confrontation that I beat that poor kid, but I didn't. Obviously, it was just recreating the lightsaber duel scene. Thankfully, I was able to explain myself, but that was pretty stressful because, you know, I was always a good student, a top student, a good boy, and something like that happened, and the guy was really bruised. The kid, I mean, my classmate, bruises everywhere because I saw it, and my goodness, so you have to be careful. But that was fun, really. You can't even conceive how iconic it was, even back in the early 2000s. So I think that right now this kind of fad is slowly dying, so it's not there anymore. But to me, you know, the internet was still a fledgling technology in here, at least, so we had only our imagination to rely on and upon, and maybe kids were more creative back in the day. But this is yet another topic for another video, not this time around. Like I've said before, so I don't have the newer trilogy on Blu-ray either, but I have this one, a very sleek packet, the trilogy of Star Wars 1, 2, 3 on the DVD format. So, you know, since I could put my hands on the Blu-ray edition, so they are not mine, like I've said, but I just had a chance to borrow them for some time. And since I associate Christmas with the Star Wars franchise, so I decided to watch them. And like I said, the whole franchise, the original trilogy, it is full of memorable quotes. And my goodness, I could be talking about it endlessly. And the lines like, "These are not the droids you're looking for." So I didn't pay attention to that, but does it mean that uh, these are not the droids you are looking for, or these are not the droids you're looking for? So like I said, I didn't pay attention to the accent, to the stress put on the words there, but like when you think about it, these are not the droids you're looking for, so you are looking for something else from the linguistic point of view. For example, you are looking for some destroyers or whatever, or these are not the droids you're looking for. So these particular ones are not the droids you are looking for, but still you are looking for the droids. Yes, if it makes any sense. So, you know, I'm a linguist, so to me that was also a conundrum, a pretty interesting thing to consider. And probably there are some analyses on the internet. I've never had a to familiarize myself with those, but I will check it out definitely in the future. So like I said, it's been a blast in the past. The Star Wars Christmas Special Edition, Unplugged, raw, as little editing as possible, as short as possible, but I think that it's been pretty long. But I hope that you decide to comment on the Star Wars franchise, the original trilogy, the later trilogy, maybe the new one, the separate films, the Mandalorian TV series. Now we have also Ashoka, I think, on the TV or available on streaming. I'm really looking forward to you guys. Remember, you will write the comments in the comments section below. You will write the comments in the comment section below. But actually, this Jedi tree only works on the weak minds, not on the strong minds. And I assume that if I have a fan base, the fan base are smart people, clever people, smarter and more intelligent than myself, that's for sure. So I think that my Jedi trick will not work of you. Like in episode number 1, the Phantom Menace. 20,000 credits will do fine. No, they will not. 20,000 credits will do fine. No, they will not. Who do you think you are, some kind of a Jedi? To wave your head around it is not gonna work on me. Only money talks. In his mind, only money was strong enough to have convinced him to that transaction. But I hope that you will, without any Jedi mind tricks, I hope that you will decide to share your thoughts on the franchise, the individual outings, the spin-offs, the trilogies. I'm looking forward to hearing and or reading from you. Thank you very much for your attention. That wraps up this special Christmas time, which I hope that you have enjoyed together with your families, the closest ones, the beloved family members, or with your friends. And I hope to see you guys next time. I'll catch you up later. Remember, may the force be with you. Möge die Macht mit dir sein. Or actually, I've screwed it up because with dir it means with you, but it's not the plural form. So please correct me in the comment section below on my German and the German phrase. Thank you very much, and until next time, cheers, bye.